Sir, would you like to buy some cookies to help the poor? I nearly dropped my coffee. It had been years since anyone knocked on my door, except for the occasional mailman who mistakenly assumed I still cared about receiving bills. But now, standing at my front gate, was a little girl, maybe 8 years old, with wild, curly brown hair and a smile that could rival the sun. She held a brightly colored box of cookies and looked up at me as if I were the most important person in the world. I frowned. Go away, I muttered, hoping she'd get the message. Instead, she giggled. Oh wow, you sound just like my grandpa when he's grumpy. But he still likes cookies, so maybe you do too. I sighed, leaning back in my chair. Kid, I don't need cookies. She tilted her head, thinking. Are you sure? They're for a good cause. I don't eat sweets. Not even chocolate chip? No. She gasped. Not even oatmeal raisin? Especially not oatmeal raisin. Her hands went to her hips. That's suspicious. I almost laughed. Almost. Then, without warning, she pushed open the creaky front gate and started marching up my path. Hey! Hey now! I protested, but she kept going. Name's Lily, she announced as she plopped herself onto my porch step. What's yours? I narrowed my eyes. Daniel. And what are you doing sitting there? Lily swung her legs back and forth. Selling cookies. Obviously. I sighed. Listen, kid, wait. She gasped dramatically. Are you the poor person I'm supposed to be helping? I choked on my own breath. What? Well, she gestured vaguely around my front yard. Your house looks kinda old. And your fence is falling apart. And your car has leaves all over it. I rubbed my temples. I am not poor. Lily squinted at me. Then why don't you fix stuff? Because I like it this way. She made a face. That doesn't make any sense. I exhaled sharply. Kid, don't you have somewhere else to be? Nope. It's Saturday. Wonderful. Just my luck. She pulled a cookie out of the box and held it up. This one's free. Just try it. I eyed the cookie suspiciously. Why are you so determined to make me eat one? Because it'll make you happy, she said, as if it were the most obvious thing in the world. I scoffed. Cookies don't make people happy. Lily gasped. Are you broken? This time I really did laugh. A small, gruff chuckle. She grinned like she'd won a prize. Aha! See? You can be happy. I shook my head. Fine. One bite. I took the smallest possible nibble. Unfortunately, the cookie was dry as dust, and I immediately started coughing. Lily panicked. Oh no! Are you allergic? Are you dying? Before I could answer, she started whacking my back. Stop that! I wheezed between coughs. Lily giggled. Okay. But see, you did eat it. I glared at her. That was not eating. That was barely surviving. She just kept smiling. And somehow, against all logic, I found myself smiling back. I figured Lily would move on to bothering someone else. I was wrong. The next day, right at noon, I heard my front gate creak again. Good afternoon, Mr. Daniel. I groaned. You again? Lily skipped up to my porch, holding another box of cookies. I thought about what you said yesterday. Maybe chocolate chip just isn't your thing. So today, I brought peanut butter. Kid, I told you, you never said you hated peanut butter cookies. I narrowed my eyes. I don't hate them. Great. Then you should buy some. I stared at her. Do you do this to everyone in the neighborhood? Lily shrugged. Mostly just you. Of course. Lucky me. Seeing no escape, I sighed, pulled out my wallet, and handed her a $5 bill. Lily's eyes lit up. Ha! I knew I'd wear you down. Yeah, I grumbled. Now take your victory and go. Not yet. She plopped down on my porch step and opened the box. I frowned. What are you doing? We have to eat one together, she announced. It's the official rule of cookie sales. I raised a brow. Who made that rule? Me. Of course she did. With no real way out, I took a bite. It was not bad. Not great, but not bad. Lily watched me expectantly. Well, I chewed. Swallowed. It's fine. Fine? She gasped. That's not a strong review. It's a cookie, kid. Not a 5-star meal. Lily giggled. You're funny, Mr. Daniel. I scoffed. I'm not trying to be funny. That's what makes it funny. She had a point. Not that I'd admit it. Then out of nowhere she asked, "Why do you live alone?" I froze. Lily, in her usual innocent way, just kept talking. Most grown-ups have families, like my mom and dad, or my grandma and grandpa, but I never see anyone here. So, do you get lonely? I cleared my throat. Nope. She studied me like she didn't quite believe me. Well, she finally said, "If you do get lonely, you should come to the park. There's always lots of people there. And ducks. Ducks are great listeners." I chuckled despite myself. "I'll think about it." Lily grinned, satisfied. Good. Then she stood up, dusted cookie crumbs off her jeans, and skipped back down the porch. "See you tomorrow, Mr. Daniel." "Wait, tomorrow?" "Yup. I still have more flavors to test." And just like that, she was gone. I stared at the empty space where she'd been. For the first time in a long time. I wasn't sure if I wanted to be left alone. Lily didn't stop coming. Every day at exactly noon, my front gate creaked open, and in bounced my tiny, unstoppable intruder. She always had a new cookie flavor, a new story, or, on one unfortunate occasion, a harmonica, which she played horribly but with great enthusiasm. I had given up on trying to get rid of her. Not that I'd ever admit it, but I didn't mind her visits anymore. At least, that's what I told myself. Then, one afternoon, she showed up empty-handed. No cookies. No harmonica. Just a piece of paper clutched behind her back. "Mr. Daniel," she said, unusually serious, "I made something for you." I lowered my newspaper. "It's not another cookie sales flyer, is it?" "Nope." She grinned. "It's way better." That was debatable. Before I could protest, she shoved the paper into my hands. It was a drawing. A child's drawing, all wobbly crayon lines and uneven shapes. But I knew exactly what it was. In the picture, an old man, me, sat alone inside a house, staring out a window. Outside, a little girl stood on the porch, holding a cookie in one hand and reaching toward him with the other. And underneath, in clumsy, oversized letters, were the words, "Mr. Daniel looks lonely." My throat tightened. I stared at the drawing, my grip on the edges firm. Lily kicked her feet back and forth. "Do you like it?" I swallowed hard. Why did you draw this?" "Because it's true." She pointed at the sad little man in the window. "You do look lonely." I exhaled slowly. "Lily, Before I could finish, she gasped and pulled out another piece of paper. "Oh, I made you a second one." She unfolded it, revealing a new drawing. This time, the man on the porch wasn't alone. He was smiling, and sitting beside him was a little girl, happily munching on a cookie. Beneath it, in bright, bold crayon, were 3 simple words, "Happier, Mr. Daniel." I stared at it for a long moment. A lump formed in my throat. For years, I had shut the world out. I had convinced myself that solitude was easier, that keeping people at a distance meant never having to lose them. But this child, this tiny, relentless force of nature, had seen right through me. And worse? She had been right. Lily studied my face. "Do you like it?" I forced a chuckle. "It's colorful." Lily rolled her eyes. "That means you love it." I shook my head, but I couldn't stop staring at the second drawing, at the difference between the two, at the man who wasn't alone anymore. Lily stretched her arms dramatically. "So, does this mean we're best friends now?" I raised an eyebrow. "Isn't that my decision?" She gasped. "No. Best friends happen when one person decides it's true, and the other person has to agree. That's the rule." I smirked. "Who made that rule?" She grinned. "Me." Of course she did. And against all logic, I found myself nodding. "All right, kid," I said quietly. "Best friends it is." Lily squealed and threw her arms around me in a quick, unexpected hug. And for the first time in years, I let someone in. A week later, I did something I hadn't done in years. I left my house. Not just to check the mail. Not just to chase off the neighbor's cat. I actually went out. Because Lily had dragged me to the neighborhood park. "Come on, Mr. Daniel." She cheered, yanking my sleeve. "The big cookie fundraiser is today." I hesitated at the entrance. Crowds. Noise. People. I almost turned around. But then Lily turned to me, eyes bright with hope. And just like that, I followed her in. The park was packed. Kids were running. Parents were chatting. And right in the middle of it all was a long table stacked with, of course, more cookies. Lily ran up to the stand and threw her arms in the air. "We have a very important customer." Everyone turned to look at me. For a moment, I felt a familiar urge, an old instinct, to disappear, to step back into the shadows. But then I saw Lily, standing beside me like she knew I belonged here. And suddenly, my voice came easier than I expected. "I'll take 10 boxes," I said. A stunned silence. Then, the entire stand exploded into cheers. Lily practically bounced. 10 boxes. "Mr. Daniel, are you feeling okay?" I chuckled. "Consider it an investment in our friendship." Lily gasped. "This means I'm officially your favorite person, doesn't it?" I smirked. "Don't push your luck, kid." She giggled and started loading up the boxes. And as I watched her, this tiny whirlwind who had barged into my life without invitation, I felt something shift in my chest. Not just happiness, something deeper. Something I hadn't felt in a long, long time. Belonging. As we walked back toward my house, arms full of cookies, Lily looked up at me and grinned. "You know, Mr. Daniel," she said, "you're way less grumpy than when I first met you." I raised an eyebrow. "And whose fault is that?" She giggled. "Mine, obviously." I rolled my eyes. "Obviously." Then out of nowhere, she reached over and grabbed my hand. Just for a second. Just long enough for me to feel the warmth of it. "I'm really glad you're my friend," she said softly. Something in my chest tightened. For so many years, I had told myself that being alone was safer, that keeping people at arm's length meant never getting hurt. But somehow, this tiny, persistent child had cracked my heart open. I squeezed her hand back. "Yeah," I murmured. "Me too, kid."